What if your ability to live to 100 wasn't written in your genetics, but in the quiet, simple things you still do every day? We often think longevity is a mystery, locked inside DNA or reserved for the lucky. But science tells a different story. Your daily movement, mental resilience, and the small things you still can do after 65 are often better predictors of living a long, independent, meaningful life. In this video from True Senior Wisdom, we'll reveal 5 simple signs, abilities you might not even think twice about, that suggest your body, mind, and spirit are on the path to vitality well into your 90s and beyond. Let's begin with the first one, and why your ability to stand up from a chair might say more about your future than any medical test. Sign number 1, you can rise from a chair without using your hands. It sounds so basic, but the ability to stand up from a chair without using your arms is one of the strongest predictors of future mobility, fall prevention, and independence. This simple movement draws on your hip extensors, glutes, quadriceps, lower back, and core stability. And it's not just about strength, it's about coordination, proprioception, knowing where your body is in space, and resilience. Why it matters so much. As you age, the body naturally loses muscle mass, a condition known as sarcopenia. And the first muscles to weaken are often those used in daily functional tasks, like standing up from a chair, getting off a toilet, or rising from bed. When you can still do this effortlessly without using your arms to push off, it means your muscles haven't declined to a dangerous threshold. According to studies in the journals of gerontology, the sit-to-stand ability is a top indicator of long-term survival. Researchers call it a functional biomarker of longevity. In fact, some long-living populations, such as in Okinawa or Sardinia, don't go to gyms but perform daily, squat-like motions such as rising from floor mats or gardening. This builds and maintains essential strength. Doctors now use a test called the 5 times sit-to-stand test, 5STS. Sit in a standard height chair, cross your arms over your chest, stand up and sit down 5 times in a row as quickly as you can without using your hands. A time under 12 seconds is considered excellent. If you need to use your arms, or if it takes longer than 15 to 20 seconds, it may indicate muscle weakness, impaired balance, early signs of frailty. But here's the good news, it's trainable. Even if this task is difficult now, you can improve quickly by practicing sit-to-stand reps daily, doing isometric glute holds and wall squats, walking more frequently, adding resistance band exercises for legs, improving posture and breath to re-engage your core. You don't need a gym. You don't need special equipment. You just need consistency. Harold, 77, noticed he had to push off with his arms to stand. He began practicing 3 sit-to-stands every morning and evening. Within 6 weeks, he could do 10 in a row without using his hands. At his next physical checkup, his doctor said he had reversed the early signs of sarcopenia. What changed? Harold started respecting the little movements. He treated each rep as a way to protect his independence, and he stopped thinking strength belonged to the young. There's also something deeply emotional about rising unassisted. It tells your brain you're still capable. It gives you confidence to move through the world. It helps reduce fear of falling, which often limits seniors more than the fall itself. That small push off the chair, it's a symbol of resilience. Standing up from a chair without help is more than movement. It's a declaration. It's a declaration. I'm still strong. I still move forward. I still live fully. Every day you can do this, and every time you choose to practice it, you're not just adding years to your life, you're adding life to your years. Sign number 2, you can walk briskly for 10 minutes without resting. It doesn't sound revolutionary, but your ability to walk continuously without assistance for at least 10 minutes is one of the most powerful signs of longevity. Why? Because walking isn't just about movement. It's a full body coordination of your heart, lungs, muscles, brain, balance, and endurance. And your walking pattern reveals more about your health than most people realize. This research from the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, found that walking speed, particularly brisk walking, is directly linked to mortality risk. Seniors who walk at a faster pace live longer, have fewer hospitalizations, and are more likely to maintain their independence. A 2021 study showed that people over 65 who could walk at least 3.0 miles per hour, 4.8 kilometers per hour, for 10 continuous minutes had 50% lower risk of cardiovascular disease, better cognitive scores, stronger lower body muscles, improved bone density. This simple ability may be more predictive of long life than cholesterol, blood pressure, or even genetics. What does brisk mean? A brisk walk means you can speak but not sing comfortably. Your arms swing naturally. Your steps are purposeful. You feel slightly winded but in control. It's not about power walking or overexertion. It's about flow, the rhythm of vitality. Besides cardiovascular fitness, brisk walking supports brain health. Walking increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a chemical that helps preserve memory and mental clarity. Joint lubrication. Motion keeps joints nourished and less painful. Lung capacity. The rhythmic breathwork during walking improves oxygen intake. Emotional stability. Just 10 minutes of brisk walking can reduce stress, depression, and anxiety. Eileen, 71, began walking daily around her block. At first, she needed rest after 5 minutes, but within a month, she could complete her entire neighborhood loop, 12 minutes without stopping. Not only did her stamina improve, but her sleep, mood, and balance did too. And she began to look forward to her daily walk with herself. Walking test you can try now. Find a safe, flat path. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Walk at a steady, brisk pace. Ask yourself, can I finish without stopping? Do I feel energized afterward? Was my posture upright and stable? If not, don't worry, you can train your body back into rhythm. How to improve your brisk walking endurance. Start with intervals. Walk 3 mins brisk, 2 mins slow. Repeat. Use walking poles. Engage your upper body and reduce joint stress. Practice daily. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day will create visible results. Stretch before and after, especially your calves and hips. Track your progress. Use a basic pedometer or phone app. Walking also connects you to life. You notice birds, neighbors, sunlight, you make eye contact with the world. You feel part of something beyond your walls. In blue zones, regions with high centenarian rates, walking isn't a workout. It's a lifestyle. They walk to the store, to a friend's home, around the garden, and they live longer, fuller lives because of it. If you can walk briskly for 10 minutes without stopping, you're not just moving, you're declaring, my body still flows, my heart still beats with purpose, my life is still unfolding, and every step you take forward is one step closer to the vibrant, vital life that still belongs to you. Sign number 3, you sleep 7 to 8 hours and wake up feeling rested. In the race for long life, sleep is the great underdog. Often overlooked, often sacrificed, and yet absolutely essential. If you're over 65 and still sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night and waking up feeling mentally clear and physically refreshed, you're doing something extraordinary. Because after 60, the body's ability to regulate deep, restorative sleep begins to decline. Yet, quality sleep is where the real healing happens. Why sleep is so critical after 60. During sleep, especially deep and REM stages, your muscles repair and regenerate. Growth hormone is released to maintain tissue and bone density. Your brain clears out toxins linked to memory loss and cognitive decline. Blood pressure normalizes, protecting the heart. Inflammation levels drop, helping your immune system stay strong. If you're sleeping well, you're giving your body a nightly tune-up, the kind that adds years to your life and life to your years. A major 2019 study published in Nature Aging found that adults aged 65 plus who slept an average of 7 to 8 hours per night had 36% reduced risk of cardiovascular mortality, higher cognitive performance, fewer falls and fractures, better muscle preservation due to overnight recovery. Short sleep, less than 6 hours, and long sleep, over 9 hours, were both linked to increased mortality. You might be getting 8 hours, but how does your body feel in the morning? Do you wake up with energy? Is your mind clear, not foggy? Do you avoid needing naps to function? Are your joints less stiff? If yes, that's a strong sign of good sleep architecture, meaning your body is cycling through the right phases of sleep. Common sleep disruptors after 60. Nighttime bathroom trips linked to hydration timing and prostate bladder issues, restless leg syndrome or leg cramps, medications that suppress REM sleep apnea, often undiagnosed in seniors, blue light exposure in the evening. Ways to improve senior sleep naturally. Consistent sleep and wake time, even on weekends, 30-minute walk in the morning to reset your circadian clock, magnesium-rich dinner with leafy greens, nuts, or fish, no screens. 1 hour before bed, switch to soft lighting or an audiobook. A warm shower or foot soak to trigger body cooling and melatonin release. Victor, 73, hadn't slept more than 5 hours in years. He often napped in the afternoon, watched TV late, and woke groggy and achy. His daughter suggested a new routine: early dinner at 6 p.m., lights out by 10 p.m., herbal tea and reading in place of TV, morning walks before breakfast. Within 3 weeks, Victor was waking up before his alarm, refreshed and smiling. His chronic knee pain had improved, and his memory was sharper. To sleep deeply is to heal deeply. If your body still knows how to shut down fully, repair quietly, and rise peacefully, you're doing something incredibly right. It's not lazy. It's not optional. It's one of the oldest and most powerful secrets to aging gracefully. Sleep like your life depends on it, because quite literally, it does. Sign number 4, you can carry groceries without strain. It may seem like a small thing, picking up a few bags from the car to the kitchen, but your ability to carry a moderate load, like groceries, without pain or help is a powerful signal of your underlying muscular strength, cardiovascular resilience, coordination, and independence. Why carrying groceries matters more than you think? Carrying groceries engages nearly every major muscle group: shoulders and arms for lifting, core and back for posture and balance, legs for stabilizing while walking. It also involves grip strength, which is a surprising predictor of overall longevity, heart rate control as you move with added weight, endurance and pacing to avoid breathlessness or falls. In a world where machines and carts often do the lifting, the simple ability to carry 5 to 10 pounds on each arm signals that your body is still working as a system, coordinated, alert, and strong. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Physical Activity and Aging found that older adults who retained grip strength above age-adjusted norms had a 45% reduced risk of cardiovascular events, greater resilience to illness and hospitalization, fewer falls and fractures over a 10-year span. Grip strength, especially, has now been called an integrated marker of health, reflecting not just hand function, but also neurological control, nutrition status, and muscle mass. Another study found that seniors who could carry and walk with two 10-pound dumbbells for 50 feet without stopping were far more likely to remain independent at home. Here's a test you can do today. Grab 2 grocery bags with about 5 to 7 pounds in each. Walk 40 to 50 feet from your driveway to your kitchen. Ask yourself, was your posture upright? Did your hands cramp or get tired quickly? Did your breathing remain steady? If yes, fantastic. If not, this is a signal to begin rebuilding your strength gradually. If you can carry your own groceries today, you're likely still able to. Climb stairs with items in hand, pack for trips and move luggage, shop independently without fatigue, cook and clean without relying on others. These ordinary acts reflect extraordinary functional fitness, the kind that lets you age with dignity, not dependence. Ruth, 69, had stopped carrying groceries due to shoulder pain. Her physical therapist introduced a routine: lightweight training with soup cans, seated shoulder stretches, short walks with increasing bag weight. After 3 months, Ruth not only carried her groceries again, but also surprised herself by helping her neighbor lift a heavy plant pot. Her confidence soared. She said, "I didn't know how much it mattered until I could do it again." You don't need fancy equipment. Start here. Farmer's walk. Grab 2 small weights and walk across the room slowly. Wall push-ups to build shoulder and chest strength. Chair squats with small dumbbells. Add weight gradually as tolerated. Hand squeezes with a stress ball. Improve grip and forearm endurance. Do these movements 3 to 4 times per week, even for just 5 to 10 minutes. You'll notice a difference fast. Your ability to carry groceries says one thing loud and clear: I'm still strong enough to carry my own life. And that strength, humble, quiet, daily, is the very thing that carries you into your 70s, 80s, and even 90s with power and pride. Sign number 5, you laugh, socialize, and handle stress without becoming bitter. There's a strength not measured in pounds or steps, but in smiles, forgiveness, and the ability to let go. If you're over 65 and still able to laugh easily, enjoy the company of others, and move through stress without hardening your heart, then you may already possess the deepest kind of strength, emotional resilience. Numerous studies show that seniors with strong emotional regulation, social support, and stress coping tools tend to live longer, experience fewer chronic diseases, recover faster from illness or surgery, maintain sharper memory and cognition. A 2019 Harvard study followed over 5,000 seniors and found that the number of daily positive interactions, like conversations, shared meals, or laughter, correlated more with longevity than exercise frequency. Emotional strength isn't just about being cheerful, it's about not letting hard things make you hard. Unmanaged stress triggers chronic cortisol elevation. Over time, this weakens your immune system, raises inflammation, damages muscle and bone tissue, disrupts sleep, accelerates cognitive decline. But those who cope well with stress through faith, mindfulness, community, hobbies, or reflection create a buffer against that damage. What emotional strength looks like in real life. You laugh at small joys, even on hard days. You don't dwell on regrets or bitterness. You reach out to others instead of isolating. You cry when you need to, but you don't stay stuck. You forgive more easily than before. Martha, 82, lost her husband of 47 years. The grief was heavy, but she joined a local widows group. She painted again. She called her grandchildren each week. Grief didn't leave, she said, but peace moved in beside it. Her doctor noted she had better vitals than women 20 years younger, steady blood pressure, strong cognitive scores, and better sleep. The reason? Her emotional strength protected her physical body. Even if you've had a hard life, emotional resilience can still grow. Start here. Call a friend or family member weekly. Practice gratitude journaling. Write 3 things daily you're thankful for. Breathe slowly during stress. Count 4 in, hold 4, out 4. Volunteer. Even small acts of service build purpose. Laugh often, watch a comedy, read a funny story, let silliness in, muscles matter. So do steps and sleep. But it's your spirit, your resilience, your ability to feel joy, even in aging, that marks you for a long, meaningful life. If you're still laughing, if you're still connecting, if you're still choosing peace over bitterness, then you, dear friend, are more than aging well. You are aging wisely. You don't need a perfect body to live a long and meaningful life. You just need the right signals, the kind that show your body, your mind, and your spirit are still aligned with life. If you can stand up without your hands, if you can walk with rhythm and energy, if your sleep brings real rest, if your arms can carry what matters, and if your heart still opens to joy and resilience, then you are not fading. You are becoming more refined, more alive in the places that truly count. These signs don't come from luck. They come from daily choices, small efforts, and a quiet belief that you are still in charge of your story. So if you see yourself in even one of these signs, keep going. If you don't yet, begin gently. It's never too late to send your body the message, I choose life. I choose strength. I choose peace. If this video gave you clarity or comfort, please like it and share it with someone you love. Let us know in the comments, which of these signs do you recognize in your own life? And don't forget to subscribe to True Senior Wisdom, where we honor aging not as decline, but as deepening insight. Because your age is not your limit, it's your legacy.